kids, welcome back to Calon Kids. I hope you've had a fantastic week. So go and get your stuff ready. You will need some cardboard or a paper plate, some tissue paper, felt tip pens, glue, scissors, and if you've got one, a little bobbly ball. So hurry up, go and get them, and I'll see you back in a minute where I'm going to tell you all about this oyster. So today we are going to look at the parable of the great pearl, and it's found in Matthew 13. Now, do you know what a pearl is? A pearl is a very, very precious stone, or a jewel. So ask Mammy. What she'll find is that you might find she has pearl earrings or pearl necklace or a ring or a bracelet. Go and ask her to have a look at the pearls. But do you know how pearls are formed? Pearls are found in oysters. Now, this is the oyster. They are seashells or animals that lie in our sea. And what happens is that in between the top shell and the bottom shell, a little piece of sand gets into the gap. And the little piece of sand gets into the oyster, and what the oyster does in order to protect itself from this sand that's probably itching him inside, he actually keeps coating it with stuff, putting stuff on it to stop making it itchy. And over time, as it's inside the oyster, that little grain of sand becomes a pearl. So who'd have thought that from a little piece of sand that is worth nothing comes this great pearl that could possibly be very, very expensive. So why don't we watch a little video of how a pearl is made?
How are pearls formed?
It's a top secret. I can't reveal it.
All right, I'll tell you. Pearls are the result of a biological process within living sea creatures like an oyster as it protects itself from foreign substances.
Wow, the oyster looks beautiful.
Indeed, an oyster has two shells. Inside the shells, there is an organ called mantle. Mantle covers and protects all the internal organs of the oyster. Whenever any foreign substance like a grain of sand or a parasite makes its way into the oyster and gets stuck in between the shell and mantle, the mantle's natural reaction is to cover that foreign substance to protect the oyster's internal organs. For this, the mantle secretes a mineral called nacre around the foreign substance in layers. Over time, layer upon layer of nacre leads to the formation of a pearl.
So that's how pearls are formed. And in the story that Jesus says in the parable of the greatest pearl, what he says is one day a man is going out looking for pearls. And one day he's looking through all the pearls, he finds the best pearl ever. It's got no marks on it, it's perfectly round, it is perfect. And because it's so perfect, he knows that it is so precious to own that pearl. And so what he does is he sells everything he owns just to buy that perfect pearl. And what the verse says is that that's what the kingdom of God is like. That's what knowing Jesus is like and having God as your friend. It is the most precious friendship you can have. And nothing on earth will ever come close to having a friend like God. So that is a very, very short parable. And now we're going to make this oyster. And look, inside is the precious pearl. So come on, let's start making our oyster. So as you'll see from this, I've made it out of a paper plate. But if you've got cardboard, that's fine. So if you've got a paper plate, let's put my pearl here. If you've got your paper plate, what you need to do is you need to fold it in half and then cut out your oyster shape. So if you can see from the one I made earlier, it's that sort of shape. So when you fold it, you've got like a half moon shape. It's obviously got to be attached in the middle. So we just cut a little strip and then cut it around. Cut a little strip and then cut it around. So what you should end up with, if you can see that, is a little bit of a curve on both sides and then the little bit in the middle that attaches both sides of the plate. Then you need your colouring pens, because if you ever look inside an oyster, On the top end of the oyster is lots and lots of colours. It's almost like a rainbow all mixed into one. So we've got to make the top bit as colourful as possible. So get your pens and let's see how colourful you can make your oyster. So once you've coloured in your oyster, it's then time to place in your pearl. Now a pearl sits on the bottom of the oyster in like a cushion of muscle that's part of the animal. So what we need to do is we need to glue down a piece of soft tissue. And then in the middle goes the pearl. So put a little bit of glue down. Now I'm using a little pom-pom, a little white pom-pom that's got glitter on it. You can use some cotton wool, you can roll up a piece of paper if you haven't got anything like that. It doesn't really matter what it is, but the pearl sits in the middle of the oyster like that. And then to finish it off, all I've done is I've written a little verse that says, pearl of greatest price, with Matthew 13 written down to remind me of where I can find the parable in the Bible. So I'm going to stick that on the outside of my oyster. And there we have it. We have our oyster with our pearl of greatest price. And just a reminder, kids, that God is the best thing that you can have in your life. So take care of it, look after it, because it's a very, very precious friend. I hope you've enjoyed today. Have a great week, and I'll catch you next week for another parable of Jesus. Bye.